welcome to Young Turks, India's longest running show on entrepreneurship. I'm Shireen Bhan. Last week we talked about 2014, the year gone by. We spoke about investments done, deals struck in the sectors that saw PE interest. Joining us again today, Rahul Bhasin of Bearing India, Dimple Sanghi, Director at Omidyar Network, Rahul Khanna of Trifecta Capital, and Parag Saxena of New Silk Route Partners as we do some trend spotting for 2015. Appreciate you joining us back again here for Young Turks. Rahul, let me start by asking you the sectors that you continue to be bullish about. The ones that you were bullish about in 2014, infra, retail, real estate, manufacturing, pharma?
I think I have to step back a little bit. Yes, pharma we are very bullish on, and I think my belief is that if you look at the technology changes in that's driving a lot of subsequent innovation and opportunity sets. But I think more important than that, if one steps back a little bit, you notice that since 2008, money has been virtually free around the world.
Yeah.
Innovation is a very expensive exercise, and when money is free and investment opportunities are limited, it usually tends to find its way into innovation. It's just the way economics works. So to find different kinds of innovation and innovation engines across the board, across countries, is really something that you will see, and you will see more and more outcomes of that happening. Most innovation, if you look around the world historically, has happened typically in the richest societies. And the poorer societies usually have more diffusion of innovation taking place and more business model innovation taking place. And I think that you will see that pattern repeating itself even in countries, especially in India. So all around, I think anything related to the innovation ecosystem, its supply chain, integration with global supply chains are all going to be massive opportunities, and one can go sector by sector. In India, in addition to all this, you will also see change because of reform, because of change in regulation, because of just the local ecosystem. So I think this place is going to be fertile with opportunities, ideas, and it's going to be not a 3-month, 6-month phenomenon, but a 10, 20, maybe 30-year phenomenon.
Okay, so innovation-led stories is what we're going to see. Rahul, what's your take in which of the sectors that you're most bullish on?
So we're in this perfect storm where people have connectivity, people have connected devices, and increasingly now there's a part doing payments on a phone or a tablet. So I think from a consumer standpoint, you've never had a better chance to access information and transact on information. And I think as Rahul mentioned, we are inspired by business models that we've seen elsewhere. We've seen that, say in the e-commerce world, but as we look at the sharing of services, that is definitely an area where we're seeing a lot of young entrepreneurs saying, how can I marry, social and shopping? How can I marry travel and rentals? And so we're seeing a lot of hybrid models, but all mobile first. In fact, very different from, say, a couple of years ago where people started on the web and then went to the phone. Today we're seeing mobile only, not even mobile first, right? Increasingly, we're also seeing interest on the enterprise side. For a long time, the focus was purely consumer. With the cost of labor going up, with the fact that India is a large country, I think many businesses are starting to embrace technology, and the phone and tablet have really become a really cost-efficient fashion to introduce technology into the enterprise.
Any specific instances you'd like to share with us?
No, I think
to watch out for in 2015?
I haven't written those checks as yet, so only once I tell you. But one thing that I will share is, I think, as touched upon last week, there's no need for venture debt. And part of what we're doing in our new fund is actually providing debt to venture-backed companies. Because I think in a lot of ways, these companies do need working capital financing, things like that. And so we're also broadening the depth of capital supply that is very much needed in the Indian market.
Okay. Dimple, what are you going to be most excited about in the year to come?
Well, for us, the three pillars which we really do pretty well, and we are very excited, which is SIM, which is consumer internet mobile technology. I completely agree that internet and mobile technology is the way to go. Mobile first, or only mobile is also something which we are looking at. We believe there will be very innovative models which will come in financial inclusion as well. Now that we have the plumbing in place as far as
the regulations coming in for small banks, payment banks.
Payment banks, absolutely. So whether it is in the payments or whether it's in the small banks, or even the plumbing by Aadhaar, which has not yet got it, but they are really many businesses which are coming where they are actually set on the basis of Aadhaar, and of course education, where again largely for vocational is what we see. Traditional education is also growing. Skill India is what we are very bullish on.
Parag Saxena, we've talked about the opportunities that the panel here in the studio are looking at in 2015. What are you most excited about?
I want to just step back to the big picture first. In my experience, the largest changes come about when there are legislative changes. Technology innovation is behind that, and consumer behavior changes are the slowest, but those are the three sources of venture opportunities.
Okay.
I think that there is the opportunity to see significant legislative change. There is the ease of doing business stuff that is currently heard from the government. But I think if it manifests itself particularly in the financial sector and in the telecom sector, if we do actually see optical fiber network across the country, you'd see huge amount of innovation in both of those. So people have talked already, I think, extensively about mobile and the opportunities related to that. But I think finance is the other place where you'd want to be.
Rahul, Bhasin, financial services and the kinds of innovation that we are expected to see around financial services, would that be a sector that you'd be watching out for?
Look, financial services is a levered play of playing economic growth. So yes, I mean it's frankly a no-brainer. And if you look across emerging markets across 20-30 years, it's probably been a very, very sound way of playing long-term growth. I would say the payments bank is going to be a game changer, because if you look at payment solutions across the mobile phone, across different kinds of uses in the economy, people have very fragmented solutions, and it's very complex for a user to actually participate in so many different kinds of payment models and payment solutions. So I think an integration of that is going to be a very big opportunity set going forward.
We're often asked, why don't we have an Indian Facebook, or why don't we have an Indian WhatsApp? And the point is that, you don't need an Indian Facebook or an Indian WhatsApp because you already have Facebook and WhatsApp. But what people like Hike, for instance, are doing, are Indianizing the Facebook and the WhatsApp model. Do you see a lot more of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are clearly global solutions to some local opportunities, and then you have homegrown answers as well. I would sort of draw on the payments example. My driver has a Facebook account and I have a Facebook account. I would imagine that he's never been FICO scored or never had a credit check done on him, but I have. Now, if you're looking to disrupt, say, financial services, why not leverage technology, social media, the social graph, to use that as an indicator of people's ability to pay, willingness to pay. And I think the big innovation that happened, in the last few years, at least in the West, was the decoupling of the origination and risk pricing from the balance sheet. So there was a company that went public last week called Lending Club, I think now valued at north of 10 billion. It has zero balance sheet. All it does is it originates loans, it structures them, cuts them into different pieces, and provides it to different financiers, who in turn provide the capital. Now, that actually is a technology platform. So, one of the things that we think will happen in India is that because legacy credit infrastructure doesn't exist, with the new digital India, with people being connected all the time, that will become their credit signature, their credit footprint. And if you can intelligently understand that credit footprint, you can lend to them. So we've become an EMI nation.
Right.
I think the challenge is, most technology companies aren't balance sheet heavy. So if you can find a way to use technology to take a credit call, there's enough people who are willing to fund it.
Entrepreneurs can probably solve that problem. Is waste disposal of electronic goods.
Over the last 10 years, where private sector has won is where government has failed.